Congress taking a closer look at the problems U.S. schools are facing when it comes to reopening during the pandemic. This as top leaders on Capitol Hill negotiate another package that could include more money for schools. Spectrum News Washington reporter Samantha-Jo Roth shows more with the concerns from top school leaders and what lawmakers are demanding.
This funding is critically needed to help cover the impending substantial shortfalls in state and local revenue collections.
Educators across the country are making their plea for billions of dollars. They say schools desperately need to respond to the pandemic.
To continue to feed students and their families, to close gaps in remote learning, to expand mental health services, to provide reliable high-speed internet access for all students, and to purchase the necessary PPE.
Lawmakers on both sides support including more money for schools, but there are some key differences. Initially, Democrats included $100 billion for public schools in their bill, but now they want even more.
You know, whether we reopen in person or with online or some hybrid model, all of that is expensive and requires money and resources.
Republicans want to set aside at least 10% of the money for private and religious schools. They also want to tie some of the aid to schools offering in-person classes.
I think it is critical that we get children back to school. There is a huge public health component, I think, with isolation that has to be weighed alongside with the COVID risk. Right now, the data is showing in Florida, if you are under 25 years old, you have a 99.98% chance of being just fine.
A lack of safety measures in some places where schools are reopening have raised concerns, with photos emerging of packed hallways between classes in Georgia earlier this week. But until lawmakers make a deal, educators and students are left with a lot of uncertainty.
We owe it to them and future generations to meet this pandemic head on.
In Washington, Samantha-Jo Roth, Spectrum.